going on, guys? This is the Wisdom Matrix, and this video is about something, excuse me, that I haven't really talked about on this channel very often. And if I have, it's in very indirect ways. And the reason why I'm making this video is because I think it's important to mention this, even though most of you may understand this already. But you see, the problem I have, and this is a problem that I have with spirituality in general, a lot of spirituality and like mysticism and stuff like that, is, well, there's a couple of problems really, but there's one major mainstream problem, and that is what I like to call hero worship or guru worship or whatever you want to call it. Basically what this is when somebody worships, a teacher or whatever, to like an extreme degree, which I think happens more often than most people are willing to admit. And the reason why this is problematic is because when you worship somebody or somebody's teaching more than anything else, you're going to miss things, because not every teacher is going to know everything, and not every teacher is going to have the right answers for every single problem. And part of this, part of the problem is that causes this is that your mind likes very simple answers, like, oh, just follow this one teaching, just follow this one person, and you can fix all of your problems instantly. The problem is that people's minds are ultimately beyond this type of thing. It's so your mind is much more complicated than this. Basically what this means is that your mind is not going to be like some enlightened teacher's mind or somebody else's mind. So what may work for somebody else, including myself, might not work for you. This is why you have to experiment with the, whatever teachings you find, whatever techniques you see, and see what works for you. Because if something doesn't work for you, even if you worship this guru, nothing that I do, nothing this guru is going to do is going to stop or help you at all. It's just going to be a dogma that you're going to believe in. Even if you stop believing in a dogmatic religion like Islam or Christianity or whatever, if you still worship a guru or, an enlightened being or whatever, an angel or a god or whatever it might be, to the extent that, their words are perfect and automatically, you can't, not even necessarily that you can't scrutinize what they say, but, they're so enlightened that their teachings are automatically good and right or whatever, anything like that. The problem is that your mind is going to be different. No one teaching, no one teacher is going to be right for you. This is part of the problem I have with spirituality. Is that, they say, oh, just follow this one guru, just follow this one person. I'm not saying that they're going to be completely wrong for you or anything, but the problem is that the mind is too complex a thing to just follow one teaching or one teacher or whatever it might be. This is why some techniques work for some people and don't work for others. This is why I've tried to share as many ways of trying to find understanding and love and peace and whatever else as I can, because not every technique is going to work for every single person here. And this is part of the problem with guru worship, and part of it is there's like this mystifying essence to all spirituality, and there's nothing wrong with this necessarily, but I think this leads to more confusion, not less. and it actually it may motivate people and give them like a passion, but I don't know. The problem is that I don't know. Demystifying has, I don't know. Like I said, it just causes more confusion. I think it's more applicable to be, more practical. Not that I think mystifying isn't, important, because some of the teachings, the only way they can work is by, trying to show you different, like, higher understandings and mysticisms and stuff like that. I think a lot of people get attached to these words and these specific ways of being, which ends up causing more problems for them in the long run. Another thing too is like nobody really knows what mysticism is, or or spirituality has gotten such a bad rap for being, I don't know, not necessarily impractical, but it may go a little too what some people would call like airy-fairy, which is a fair criticism. Sometimes it goes a little far, which is why I try not to go too deep into the theories and the explanations. Well, that's why I go into the theories and explanations, because if you have to have some kind of logical understanding of how this stuff works and why it works. If you go into the more advanced stuff here, this is part of why I've tried to point out, I'm not, a perfect being or a genius or enlightened person or whatever. I'm just somebody who figures out some of the stuff. A lot of it I have actually come up with myself. Not all of it, but a lot of it. But this doesn't make me like an enlightened master or a guru or whatever. It just makes me somebody who's tried to discover ways of being, different ways of doing things, different ways of thinking. I think a lot of the reason why I've had such easy access to insights and ways of doing things is because I've had this open-minded, different way of looking at things. I never just followed or believed that one way is the only way. I even talked about writing a book called Many Paths, One Destination, which basically goes into how every single, path that has ever existed, even the so-called non-spiritual ones like atheism or whatever, inevitably lead to the same place, which is, God or the Godhead or whatever you want to call it. It's another subject though. And there's some criticism to be made about how, possibly the God stuff it could be turning people away, which is fair enough, which is why I try not to talk about it too much. And oftentimes when I talk about God, I just mean, like the infinite. I don't mean like a somebody in the sky or something like that. I just mean like, well, see, the other problem too is that some of this stuff is hard to put in words, which is why it's not a good idea to worship or to ascribe like a lot of meaning to one person idea or teaching, or even a couple of more persons ideas or teachings, because people can be wrong, egos exist, and so I just wanted to point this out. This is a bit of a less structured video than I usually do, but I just wanted to explain this. Hopefully somebody got some kind of benefit from this, and I'll see you in the next video.